welcome to American Baker in Germany. I'm Michelle, and today we are talking about the differences between fondant and gum paste. Let's get started.
Fondant and gum paste are very similar in many ways. They are both made almost only out of sugar. They are both pliable and able to be modeled into figures for cake decorating, and at first glance they look almost exactly the same. So what's the difference? The difference is mostly texture. Fondant is softer and more pliable, while gum paste is stiffer and sets up faster and harder. I will first show gum paste. You can also form your fondant into a texture more similar to gum paste by adding Tylo powder to it, also known as CMC. I kneaded this gum paste off camera before rolling it out, and it gave me some trouble. It was very stiff and very difficult to roll out. Compared with fondant though, it's almost never sticky. It does take some considerable arm strength to roll out. I first cut out a handful of circles to create a rose shape in a moment. Then I cut out some letters to form the words gum paste. I must say the letters gave me a lot of trouble. They almost all stuck in the forms, and I had to poke them out with a skewer. If they didn't stick, they also didn't cut all the way through. It was very hard to get the plastic letter cutouts to cut through the gum paste. So just these few letters were a pain to cut out of the gum paste. Unfortunately, because the letters took me so long to cut, the circles I cut out first were semi-dry already. That's how fast gum paste dries. So the resulting rose wasn't that great. The edges of the petals were all cracking and looked raggedy. If you make your roses right away, though, that shouldn't happen with gum paste. In fact, it's sometimes called flower paste because it's used to create sugar flowers so often. Finally, I modeled a simple form of a bird. Very few details, just the head, beak, and tail really. Then I set them all aside while I worked on making the same things out of fondant. Please note how very much easier fondant is to roll out. Notice also that the cutouts don't stick inside the forms, and the forms cut through the fondant very easily. However, the letters were also much more difficult to pick up, as they wanted to lose their shape. They sometimes had to be corrected. The fondant rose was perfect. Fondant won't dry so quickly that you can't let the petals sit out for a few minutes. It was no trouble at all. If you need a tutorial on how to make a fondant rose, see the link in the card. Then I modeled a simple bird just like I had made out of gum paste. Let's compare the birds first. They both look pretty good, but the fondant bird's head and tail has already started to droop, although I made it second. The gum paste doesn't have that problem. Everything is exactly where I put it when modeling it, so gum paste wins the gravity-defying award. With the roses, as I explained before, if I hadn't left the petals sitting out too long, the gum paste rose wouldn't have had the cracks in it. So remember to make your sugar flowers one at a time and immediately after cutting the petals, or this will happen. You've been warned. In general, fondant and gum paste are both equally good at making sugar flowers, with gum paste once again standing up better against gravity. As for the letters, if you need your letters to be flexible and wrap around the side of a cake, for example, then fondant is your best friend. However, if you need your letters to stand up in a cupcake, for example, then gum paste is the way to go. The fondant letters were still rather soft, and the gum paste letters hardened enough to stand up on their own after only a few minutes. In short, neither wins. The two materials are used for different purposes. Anything that you need flexibility with, go with fondant. Anything you need to stand up against the pull of gravity, go with the gum paste. Fondant covers a cake well. I do not recommend covering a cake with gum paste. Both make lovely decorations, with gum paste being more of a specialty item to be used when needed. Fondant is much more widely used. In this cake, I used fondant to cover the cake and create the letters, but the tissue is made out of gum paste. I hope this information was helpful for you, and it helps you choose the best material to use for your cake decorating needs. For more cake and tutorials, visit our website at AmericanBakerInGermany.com. We're also on Facebook and Instagram. Subscribe for more tutorials.